Let me first introduce myself. I'm the narrator of this story, so I will be the one to tell it to you. But I am not the hero. Our two main heroes, and you will see that in their adventures, they will meet many new characters, are named Paco and Luis. So, you're probably already wondering why it's me who's telling the story. Well, I never actually met them, but I discovered our two friends, Paco and Luis, completely by chance. One summer day, at a flea market in a small provincial town, I found myself in front of an antique dealer's stall. An antique dealer is a seller of souvenirs, someone who sells old things that have a story, and sometimes that story has been forgotten. Sometimes it is hidden in these pieces of furniture, in these trunks, in these paintings. And it is up to the buyer of the antiquity to imagine or uncover what the story of the object in question was. Well, on that day, I found a chest, an old wooden chest that looked like nothing less than a pirate's chest. It looked like it was at least 2,000 years old. In any case, it was covered in 2,000 years worth of dust deposited on the last layer of paint that had been applied to it. It wasn't worth much, just a few small bills. And after a short negotiation, the merchant seemed particularly happy to let it go. In general, with antique dealers, that's a sign that the trinket isn't worth much. But after all, a good deal is one that satisfies both the seller and the buyer. As far as I was concerned, I was fully satisfied. I had paid next to nothing for something that seemed to me to contain a particular story. Actually, I was completely wrong. The story of that object, that chest, I never found it. However, when I opened it a few days later, I came across accounts of incredible stories experienced by two children from Mexico. I went home. I took the chest out of my car and I put it in the garage, telling myself that I would deal with it that very afternoon. I simply forgot about it. I went about my business and simply moved on. Several days later, while looking for something else in the garage, I found the chest again. Well, I don't know if it was me who found it or if it was the chest that wanted to be found, but let's say we found each other. I took it out of the garage onto the outdoor terrace, and after a quick inspection, I decided to open it. And there, oh surprise, it was locked. But the lock was very rudimentary, a simple mechanism that didn't resist my locksmith skills for long. A few drops of oil, 2 screwdrivers, and pop, the bolt had jumped. Inside, newspapers, clippings, scrap of letters, which seemed to have been put there simply to wrap or protect something. With handfuls, and in a few minutes, I arrived at the bottom of the chest, and I discovered a manuscript. A manuscript is a book that had been written by hand. I sat down, closed the chest, sat on it, and began to read. All the details that I'm going to tell you I got from this manuscript. I haven't modified or invented anything, and everything suggests that our two heroes, Paco and Luis, truly existed. The manuscript didn't have a date. I was unable to find any trace of them or of any other character. It is mentioned in the manuscript that only the first names are given for the characters, making it difficult for a historian or someone specialized in investigative research to trace these individuals. It is mentioned in the manuscript that only the first names are given for the characters, making it difficult for an historian or someone specialized in investigative research to trace these individuals. However, the author of the manuscript expresses confidence in the truthfulness of the stories and leaves it up to the reader to decide for themselves. Our two friends are from Mexico, and when they started telling the story of their adventures, everything suggests that they lived in the southern part of Mexico. Once again, they do not give the name of a city or village, but the description of the surroundings, especially the vegetation and the border of the tropical forest to which they often refer, seems to indicate that they lived in a small village near Lacandon. Lacandon is a town located on the edge of this tropical forest, this virgin forest as the old explorers called it. Several villages have been established along the river that runs through this little Mexican Amazon. The villagers on site, including Paco and Luis' parents, lived modestly, mainly from subsistence farming. This is a type of agriculture which aims to grow plants and crops and raise animals for the exclusive consumption of the family that works the land. Everything is consumed by the household. This means that Paco and Luis' parents were not wealthy. They didn't have a lot of money. They worked very hard, waking up in the morning before sunrise and coming home in the evenings after sunset. Despite a very busy schedule, they took very good care of their children, and they gave them an excellent education. Paco and Luis, although from different families, shared the same values. Paco and Luis were 8 and 11 years old, respectively. They were not brothers, but they might as well have been because they were neighbors. And above all, they were the best of friends. So, although they had a few years age difference, they had grown up together. Luis, who had always been responsible and organized, often took care of Paco since they were very young. He helped him with his homework after school, talked to him a lot, and they played together often. Paco, on the other hand, was a very lively and energetic little boy who was also very resourceful. He always carried his backpack with him and liked to say that he had a solution for all problems in his backpack. No matter what came up, he was always prepared. So at this stage, you might be wondering what is going to happen to Paco and Luis and what their adventures are going to be about. Well, you will hear a bit more about this in the next episode.